So today we have a new goal, and we have a new place to go. Newish, mostly new. Kaine recently told us that she knows another guy who's been infected by the Black Scrawl, and they've probably been working on a cure, given that he's a king. So we're gonna head out and find him.
How are things?
We recently had a drink with... I guess you weren't there. That's unfortunate. Incidentally, the other guy mentioned that shades dislike light, but aren't commonly hurt by it. That's true. If you look back on some of the things, you might see that shades will sometimes run out into light and begin emitting gouts of smoke. That means they're taking damage from sunlight. That's a nice touch. Anyway, since we're about to head out, I equipped our most recently gained spell, once I found it. Dark Phantasm. This is basically my personal favorite go-to utility for crowd control. All you have to do is charge it up, and then release it, and anything inside that circle dies. Well, at least takes substantial damage. This is also ideal for crowd control because the circle, when it extends, causes anything inside of it to begin moving much more slowly, so you have plenty of time to charge while enemies experience that slowdown and they can't hit you. This winds up making it a little bit more useful than Dark Execution, which we saw back in the prologue and we haven't seen yet, because Dark Execution just takes time to charge up. It does a massive amount of damage, but you wind up getting hit while you're charging it more often than not. Or at least I do, because I'm an idiot. So we'll be sticking to Phantasm. Anyway, what Kaine was talking about, being the town of Facade, is down here, in the desert. In the desert, there we go.
So what's Facade like?
It's strange. Let's just leave it at that.
Stranger than a boorish young woman who battles monsters in her undergarments.
Let's go.
Nice, you jackass. So we've been here before, but we didn't have a look at some of the interesting surroundings. Interesting at a desert level, how weird. This is a thing. And over in this direction are some more shiny. Right. We came here earlier just to get some of that incidental dialogue, none of which you can hear anymore since Nier and Vice now actually have a reason to be out here. There's a boat. Since they have a reason to be out here, and since Kaine is hanging around, except for that scorpion dialogue, that will always play your first time you get attacked by a scorpion. Yeah, here's some more things. Things which are apparently gravestones?
Wolves!
And here's some wolves. Wolves are large canids with sharp teeth, sharp claws, and the ability to kill you. As you can see, Dark Phantasm doing its lovely work right there. Now, the wolves, weirdly enough, have the primary attack of trying to headbutt you, which, as I understand it, is not a common tactic for wolves in real life.
Wait, they're leaving.
That one appears to be the pack leader.
And that's all I have to say about wolves right now. Just skin that one while we're here, and move on. Our wolves will become a little more important and a little more numerous and annoying as we go on, but for now it looks like that black one, that odd-looking black one, has decided that we're not worthwhile.
gate's closed shut.
Doesn't look like we'll be getting in very easily.
Now see here.
You know these guys, Kaine?
No, it's not that. A while back, I saved one of their kids from a pack of wolves. Ever since, this town's welcomed me with open arms. It's gotta be a pretty screwed up place if they let me in, huh? Anyway, I don't know the language or anything, so don't get too excited.
Huh. Well, this is...
I suppose a quick stroll about town is in order?
The language they use here is pretty crazy. So good luck with that.
Well, this is a place.
I'd wager that huge structure is the king's manor.
How do we even get there?
With willpower and smarts, my good man.
Oh dear. Well, maybe the locals can direct us.
I can't understand a thing these people are saying.
They speak a language I have never before encountered.
They speak wingdings.
Maybe I should have studied languages when I was a kid.
You could speak 1,000 tongues and still fail if you lack knowledge of another's culture.
Huh. So, this is Facade. It is a vertical maze of chutes and ladders. There's plenty of quicksand to jump in and get lost. Let's immediately save the game. Now, forgive the crossfade. I basically saved the game, then went back to bed because this came after doing all the other side quests, and it was late, and I was tired, and you don't really care, do you? Anyway, I really wish that I could show you my first time trying to navigate this place. It was 10 minutes of me running around like a chicken with its head cut off. And as I recall, very funny in retrospect. Little bit frustrating when it was actually going on.
Come on, Vice. Help me out here.
I am a brilliant book of unspeakable value, not some dog-eared travel guide.
Thanks. Needless to say, I do know where I'm going, so that takes some of the fun out of exploration.
All these stairs. They couldn't have made this more needlessly complicated if they tried.
We'd best figure out a way to the king. Elsewise, we'll be ascending and descending stairs until doomsday.
Although I think part of my major problem was accidentally falling in quicksand, having no idea where it spit you out in relation to anywhere else, and then just getting terribly, terribly turned around. In reality, Facade looks kind of intimidating. It's not that weird. It's symmetrical on all sides. Mostly. It's symmetrical enough on all sides. So, getting lost isn't really that big a deal.
No entry, it would seem.
I sure wish I understood this language of theirs.
This is pointless. Let us go back.
You can get into the manor, basically, if you just hug one of the walls. And going back, you just need to teleport. Which is nice. And that is a mask on a stick. I hope it's just a mask. That little camera pan was me playing around with the right analog stick because I didn't know you could pan the camera. You can. It looks stupid. Let's help this poor miniature pyramid head.
Oh, look! This one lacks the power of speech. Perhaps she can communicate through gesture. Let me see. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I am Fira. Are you in trouble?
No, we just need to ask your leaders about something. But I can't do that unless I can understand them.
I can guide you? Oh, she will act as our guide. How fortuitous. But first, I must explain this town.
I'm not here for a tour.
No, there are rules to follow. Follow me. Well, there you have it.
Well, alright then. Our little friend Fear is gonna show us around. And tell us about their laws? I guess?
Rule 106.
Is Rule 106 the reason for your labyrinthine system of staircases? Well, I suppose eccentric people deserve an eccentric town.
I guess that makes sense.
Hey.
If you live on uneven ground, then all of this quicksand can flow towards a central point instead of pooling up around places. Okay, fine. That's neat.
Oh, come now. What could possibly be the point of such an absurd rule?
Hold on. Your people are still making rules?
Of all the idiocy, I could never live in this city.
Well, okay, I guess that's a method of familiarizing yourself with the town? You can't purchase things until you've seen the entire town and have at least some modicum of understanding of its, I'm reaching here. Anyway, this is the little sand skiff thing. You can jump on these independent of going to one of the actual docks. It'll just take you around in a big circle. You don't have to watch this every time. That's the only time we're gonna, well, yeah, that'll probably be the only time we ever do it. You can just hit start and move along.
Ah, so the aristocracy lives in the top levels, while the commoners subsist below. Seems like a rather unpleasant rule for those on the bottom. Does this girl plan to drag us about the entire town in this fashion?
The kid sure does love her rules, doesn't she?
Yes, she does, and we're gonna let her. We're also gonna impede progress. You can just skip the rest of this, obviously, but for your sake and for mine, because I haven't seen this in a while, we're gonna go ahead and let her talk about the rules of facade. marvelous rules of the song.
Hold on. A strange things store.
Such as...
Yeah, that's pretty strange.
I love how indignant he is at the concept. Actually, neat little things in here. You have pillows, surfboards, road signs. There's a pipe over there. There are little tiny urns. Which I guess if you live in the middle of the desert after the apocalypse, some of that stuff is pretty strange, especially the surfboards. How'd those get out here?
Yes, I was beginning to suspect that.
And impeding progress. I never noticed this before, but the material shopkeeper has a line after of masks stuck back there. I guess you can make your own or buy one. That is a mace. You guys got a mace.
Thanks.
These rules are enough to make a sensible man reach for the noose. I don't know how you survive in a place with so many inconvenient prescripts.
Whatever gets you through the day.
Okay. Let's move on. Now that we've toured all of the shops, we can head straight back to the King's Manor. Maybe she'll play translator for us?
You have no king?
The Black Scroll. Thank you. All of this touring has been helpful for understanding your language. I believe I will be able to speak with this advisor myself.
We need to talk to the prince.
My patience for this kind of thing has long ago evaporated.
It's not your fault, Vera.
Oh.
Let's go back to Kaine for now.
And one more skipped sand skiff tour. And back to Kaine. Yeah, you know, the opposite of a boy. I think you're one? A girl? Not that strange a concept. Well, maybe she's asking how can we tell. Fair enough. Anyway, she just repeats what she says, and we can leave. Nothing no good, come back another day. Of course, it's never that simple.
Slow down, I can barely... the person who saved me? Surely you don't mean Kaine? Kaine helped you, this foul-mouthed hussy?
Piss off, book. You guys done?
Looks like all those rules are getting in the way.
This is their way and their system of laws. As outsiders, we have no say in the matter. Come, we should be off.
Yeah, I can't see where this is set up to go. I guess we'll just leave. No problems with that.
Leader.
You could just ask an outsider to go save him. Then no one violates a rule. You know, an outsider, like me.
And oh, what luck. There just happens to be an outsider here who can't stop meddling in the affairs of others.
I'll do it. Vera told me about Rule 1024. You know that one, right? Rule 1024. You must honor the request of any outsider owed a debt. That's how it goes, right, Vera?
Why did I ever agree to travel with such a pack of do-gooders?
Let's go.
Huh. Well, Kaine's encouraging us to go find the prince, for some reason. We're not immediately anyway. Instead, we're going to go back and explore some of these shops that we couldn't actually get to. Mostly because I want to restock some of my medicinal supplies. And get some maps. You might notice I didn't buy too many medicinal supplies, despite having tons of money. The reason for this is, I'm a badass. Yeah, that's it. And here's another weapon that we can pick up. The Earthworm's Claw. And yeah, I kind of forgot to mention this because I kind of forgot it was a thing. But this is actually a weapon based on one of the weapons from Drakengard. You can't see it properly now, but as you upgrade it, it loses that mess of whatever that is, and becomes more visible. We also have other weapons that came directly from Drakengard. The Nirvana Dagger, which I do remember was the Maiden's Crease in that game. The Lily Leaf Sword, which I sadly do not remember what it was. I want to say the Moonrise is also from Drakengard, but I can't recall off the top of my head.
Let's go.
The big-ass thing we're currently wielding is not from Drakengard. These weapons actually do have a reason for being in the game, other than time constraints. She shall show us the way. Well, actually, they are in the game, thanks to time constraints. They said that they wanted to have all original weapons, but used Drakengard things as placeholders and just didn't have time to go back in and model new ones. The reasoning for this is that at the end of Drakengard, when the main character was shot down by jets, by the Japanese Air Force, when he exploded, all of his weapons got scattered across the Tokyo Bay area, and some of them survived. 1,300 years in the future, and that's what we're collecting. Which is a bit goofy, but I like it. So, this isn't quite an escort mission, but we are going to be trailing Fira for a bit, and not much interesting is going to happen. So, let me tell you a little bit about Fira. As you might have noticed, she was doing sign language to try and communicate with us. This isn't because she's mute. She has the ability to speak, but she's actually from a different city. She's from somewhere beyond Facade. You never visit it. It never really gets mentioned. It never gets mentioned at all. But this is also why she doesn't exclusively speak the Facade language. She knows your language, and if she could talk, if she were allowed to talk, then she would be able to communicate like that. Thing is, she's not allowed to talk because she's an outsider. Facade doesn't allow people that are new citizens to speak until they are actually part of a family registry. And since Fira's from a different city and she's not part of a family registry, she won't be allowed to talk until she's, say, adopted into a Facade family or marries into one. Which, now that I think about it, is kind of a cruel rule, but, well, there you have it.
Beware the wolves!
Oh yeah, there are wolves out here.
This sand's just too much.
The moment I open my mouth, the sand rushes inside.
Vice, you don't even have a mouth. How does Fira deal with this?
Perhaps there is some kind of filter inside that mask of hers.
Well, I'd figure the mask itself would function as a filter, wouldn't it?
Beware the wolves!
That's why you hold fabric over your nose when you're in a place where you can't breathe very well. Contaminated air or maybe sandstorms. Anyway, wolves.
These people should stop arguing about rules and follow Fira's lead.
She seems to possess almost boundless stores of energy.
Oh, another thing. The reason that Fira was expelled from her hometown, city, whatever, is because at some point when she was very young, and she's only 10 now, but when she was very young, she was badly burned. Like, disfiguringly badly burned. Her face is irrevocably scarred. So, I don't know if the family kicked her out to Facade because they were ashamed of it, or because they thought that the whole Facade masks thing would help her fit in better there, and she wouldn't have to hide her face wherever they were. But, yeah, that's Fira's backstory, basically. It involves immolation and child abandonment. This is a game made by Cavia.
Beware the wolves!
The reason that I'm sticking as close as possible to Fira during this is that if you walk too far from her, even during these wolf attack sequences, you wind up resetting it. Like, you lose Fira into the sandstorm and you have to go back to the beginning of the desert. This is not something that I enjoy the concept of, so every time I do this I just try and play it as safe as possible.
This girl must possess extreme patriotism. Look how she gives all for the sake of her prince.
I'm also harvesting as many wolves as possible because there's something that requires their wonderful fluffy hides later on, and I want to minimize as much grinding or gold wasting as possible. There's only 3 batteries of wolves because, as you can see, we are now entering a place that doesn't have a sandstorm and does have lanterns. Mysterious. And then Fira hands us a perfectly drawn and accurate map of a place that nobody but the royal family is allowed to enter. Why not?